It's way past time I dispense some indiscriminate justice!
G'day guys, Duckville here. We are into Game 4 of the NRG Tournament Grand Final, which is taking place here on Shattered Temple. It took place in real life in Sydney, but the match is going to be, of course, between nGenLight and his opponent here. Just Juice, not really. It's actually STA, so we'll see if STA can get some more wins rolling here. He is up 2-1 at the moment there. We just saw in Game 3, we saw Light actually do a great little one-base timing push with his Colossus that he got out early after deflecting an attempted 4-gate attempt there by Ace. But we do see that these guys are going to be close ground positions on Shattered Temple. This is, of course, the newer version of Lost Temple. If you're unsure about this particular map and you haven't actually been playing since one of the recent patches where this came in, this one actually has the island base is actually now a semi-island base, given that it was actually joined up with the rest of the land. Some rocks fell down there and some rocks fell down here. So this is actually all one big base, of course, one big landmass. The natural expansion is very much more open compared to what it used to be, much to my detriment with some of the ways I play this particular map. But it is still a fantastic map, of course. The one other major change, of course, is that the Xel'Naga tower now has been brought into just one tower in the middle here, which covers the middle section, instead of covering pretty much all of the attack paths, which it used to do. So we do have Light actually moving straight out there with a probe, checking out the Xel'Naga watchtower, going across horizontal, vertical spots, sorry, to actually scout out what is happening, see if he can find out where Ace is. But of course, he's gone the wrong direction. And we do have the probe coming out there from Ace. Ace once again doing the Gateway Scout. It's I would say it's a little bit more uncommon to see a Gateway Scout in a PvP, especially on a 4-player map like this, where finding your opponent a lot later is can be quite a detriment. But we will see what Light does. He's going for a standard opening here. Both of these players getting their cybers up quite quickly there. The standard sorts of openings, I suppose you could say. What we will be keen to have a look at is if another assimilator goes down, signifying perhaps some early tech, or if it is going to be some sort of 4-gate. If he sticks with the 1 gas, you can do, of course, the 4-gate with 2 gas or 1. Either way, it works. Of course, it does lean towards a particular type of unit, depending on how many gas guys you take for yourself. The cyber is now done. We'll see both players go straight for the warp tech. There we go. And finally, Light comes inside, scouts out where his opponent is, and he is going to have to run around because there already is that Zealot out, of course. As we mentioned, 4-player map, it's a little bit harder to get inside and scout out what your opponent is doing. But now that he did get inside, he did see that the cyber was up. There's no forge, there's no mass sort of zealot sort of strat, which you do see from time to time. There's a no gas opening that you can do in a PvP, but as we see here, once again, Light actually going for that early Stalker, the 3-Stalker opening, which is very powerful against 4-gate if you can use your Stalkers to their best ability, which is actually, of course, making sure they're moving around the map, scouting out for any pylons. Now, we do see that this probe that actually scouted out for Light actually went cross-map and actually put a pylon down over here. Now, we do see, of course, that is actually going to let him warp in units, sorry, not morph in, they're not Zerg. He's going to warp in some units across to the side there, but it looks as if Light has actually caught out this the Zealot and the Stalker that were coming across to poke into his base and see what was cracking. But, of course, there are now 3 Stalkers out, which is obviously going to give him a little bit more of an advantage, and we do see a couple more Stalkers will be on the way. So, we do have one gate into Robo from Ace, which is very interesting to see. He's going to have an observer out quite quickly so he can check out what his opponent's up to. The warp gate tech is also done for Ace, so he's going to have that up and ready to roll. There it is, and a couple more gates are on the way. So we've got a little bit more of a, I'm not sure if it's riskier or if it's safer. I'm not actually sure about the 1 gate into Robo, but I would say in a general sort of stance, it's a little bit more risky, given that, as we said in Game 1, PvP is going to generally be 4-gate pretty much all of the time. So it is a little bit risky to do it that way, but we do see that he is perfectly fine, of course, because Light has done this same build just about every single game, of course, except for Game 2, where we saw him get in-base gateways, so that was not cool, and we didn't get to see what he had in store. But the Observer is going to come across here for Ace. He's going to try and scout out what he can. See some Stalkers moving across the map there. The 5 Stalkers, I believe Light probably did see that little bit of the blip that you do see from the Observer. You do see it right there is actually quite visible if you're keeping an eye on what is happening. We do see it float away right there. But the Stargate has actually been started for Light. He's going to be pumping out a couple of Phoenix, it looks like. Now, this is something I actually really like to do in PvP, is get some Phoenix out. Phoenix are great in a couple of ways. They actually let you scout out quite quickly, because of course they are very, very fast in the air, as we can see here. We'll follow this guy around while we talk about the Phoenix. They, of course, are very fast to scout around the map. You can do a quick scout of your opponent's base, much like you would with a hallucinated Phoenix in a Protoss versus Zerg, where you would generally see that that early hallucinated Phoenix to scout out what's happening. We do see that 2 are now out, and a 3rd is also on the way, along with a Forge. Interesting to see. But the other reasons Phoenix are quite cool, you can come across to your opponent and actually lift up Immortals, which is really powerful. If they're using that as their power unit in their army, you can actually take that out of the game and do what you can to the rest of the units. And of course, the 3rd option is if they go for a fast Colossus build, which we did see Light go for in that previous game. You can actually use them to great effect, of course, against the Colossus if your opponent's not microing very well, or if they're if they're not just keeping an eye on what's cracking with their Colossus, then you can lose them to the Phoenix quite quickly. The other option there, of course, we did see was that you can come around and snipe off some probes, which is very cool to see. We'll see a probe hanging out here in the middle. It hasn't been scouted yet by the Phoenix, but have a look at what's going on again. Once again, Ace going for this hidden Nexus up at the top base. This is at the 12 o'clock. I'm not sure how long this is actually going to go unscouted, because, of course, the Phoenix running around the map are going to be able to spot that quite quickly. They do kill off a couple of probes here and then fly away to fight another day, but the Stalkers came up to deflect that, and they have done so quite easily. Meanwhile, we do see that we have the Observer still running around inside Light's base, just checking out what's going on. Sees the Forge, sees the Stargate, of course, he knows that's there, and we do see that a +1 weapons is on the way from Light, so he's going to have that tiny little advantage, which will it may come into effect. You generally don't see upgrades in PvP until quite late into the game, or unless you're doing some sort of crazy Void Ray build where you do get air upgrades, which I have seen once or twice. But we have a move out coming here from Light. He's getting into position here. He probably wants to head up to that top base and attack, but we do see that Ace is getting his own forces prepared once again. Light just sort of slightly in front there with the unit count. He's at 72 against the 67 of Ace, and now Ace actually has a slight disadvantage. He does have Blink though, so he's going to use a little bit of that beautiful micro. Still loses a few of the Stalkers there to the Graviton beam of the Phoenix lifting them up, but the Phoenix is going to need to be very careful, because those Stalkers are going to pick them off quite easily, and they do indeed, picking off one, almost killing a second. And Light just sort of taking a slight little advantage there in the economy stakes. Now, the advantage he has is that he can run up to this base here, and indeed he is moving across. I don't know why he's using the Graviton beam. I'd probably save that for the next battle, but he is coming up here, is going to dispose of this base quite quickly. The one problem he has is that he now has a quite exposed main base. If Ace wants to actually be a little bit daring, he could move straight into the base here. As we can see, there is only one cannon stopping any sort of destruction going on in the base of Light, and we do see that the Nexus is taken out. Now, are we going to see a big battle in the middle? I would think so, because both the armies are moving into position here. Light controlling, Ace controlling that middle base, the Xel'Naga watchtower, throwing a pylon down. We do have some units actually in really bad positions there for Light, but he does have the Immortals, which do the bonus damage to armored units, picking up 50 damage against these Stalkers here. The Stalkers of Light trying to focus fire on the Immortals here. The Phoenix coming in quite a bit late to the party. These guys had no idea that it started at 7. They actually got here at 8. But I think this may work in favor of Ace here. Does indeed. The blink on top of the Stalkers there, making a Stalker donut, and he has taken that particular battle there. He is now in a massive lead on every single facet of this game, up there at 58 supply. GG from Light, and of course that is going to be game, because he's essentially just out of position here, has no units to warp in, and has no way to stop the incoming attack. So a very as I said, that sort of one-gate robo is a little bit riskier in a PvP, and of course taking that second base up the top did prove not as fruitful as he would have hoped, but he did obviously get a few minerals off that base while it was still up. But just unfortunately, I would say that battle came down just a little bit of mismicro there, bringing in those Phoenix quite late. As I mentioned at the start, if the Phoenix were there to actually lift up the Immortals which were in that battle, that could have been quite a bit different, because as we said, Light was actually quite in a he was in quite a bit of a lead with the army count. But either way, we'll jump into game 5. I believe there is a game 5 on what's it called? It's called Typhon or something like that. One of those new maps which is in the league, and we'll go into that particular matchup and we'll see, because it is a best of 7, I believe. So we'll see if Light can catch up and try and actually get his wins back against Ace, the Korean baller, which we have seen in GSLs and all that sorts of things. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. That was once again another pretty quick one there. Leave some comments and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in game 5. Cheers.